origin of the Reserve Force in the Philippines began way back in the pre-colonial period, year 1521, when Rahal Lapu-Lapu, the chieftain of the Mactan Island in Cebu, rallied his troops and defeated Ferdinand Magellan and the Spanish invaders. Rahal Lapu-Lapu and his townsfolk became the very first reservists that saw action in defending the Philippines. The presidency of Manuel L. Quezon became the avenue of the first enactment of the Reserve Force. An act was then put to paper on the very first legislature of his governance. Commonwealth Act No. 01 ensured that Philippines will be prepared to thwart off any invasion or aggression of some sort by any nation or entity, and thus called upon its citizens to provide manpower to the fledgling Philippine Army. The National Defense Act of 1935 heralded the creation of what would be the Armed Forces of the Philippines and their first documented account of voluntary citizen enlistment.
My fellow citizens, there is one thought I want you always to bear in mind, and that is that you are Filipinos, but the Philippines are your country and the only country God has given you. That you must keep it for yourself, for your children, and for your children's children until the world is no more. You must live for it and die for it if necessary.
During the World War II, where Japanese made a surprise attack in the Philippines, Hunters ROTC, a Filipino guerrilla unit active during the Japanese occupation of the Philippines, and was the main anti-Japanese guerrilla group active in the area near the Philippine capital of Manila. It was created upon the dissolution of the Philippine Military Academy. Cadet Terry Adevoso refused to simply go home, as cadets were ordered to do, and began recruiting fighters willing to undertake guerrilla action against the Japanese. This force provided intelligence to the liberating forces led by General Douglas MacArthur, and took an active role in numerous battles, such as the raid at Los Baños. When war broke out in the Philippines, some 300 Philippine Military Academy and ROTC cadets were unable to join the USAFE units because of their youth. The Hunters ROTC banded together in a common desire to contribute to the war effort. Throughout the Bataan campaign, they worked to protect civilians and to assist the USAFE forces by way of intelligence and propaganda. During the Battle of Manila in 1945, the Hunters ROTC, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Emmanuel V. de Ocampo, fought with the U.S. Army from Nasugbo, Batangas to the Manila General Post Office. The Hunters also jointly operated with the Philippine Commonwealth Army and the Philippine Constabulary and the American soldier and military officers of the United States Army in many operations in Manila, Rizal, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, and Tayabas, now Quezon. The aftermath of the World War II made the armed forces of the Philippines realize that there should be a need to rebuild and reorganize the defense of the nation. Reserve units were then organized to battalion combat teams with the sole purpose of force augmentation in case of another World War threat. Up until 1986, after the infamous EDSA Revolution, the unit was shortly deactivated since the armed forces of the Philippines at that time had undergone retraining and reorganization. 1991 was the new beginning for a new reserve force when Republic Act 7077, Reservist Act of 1991, was signed into law on July 1, 1991. It was also known as Citizens Armed Force Act or Reservist Law of 1991. The new legislation directed the AFP to organize and create units with the sole purpose of reservist management. That's why, on May 12, 1992, the Reserve Command of the Philippine Army was again reactivated pursuant to HPA General Orders No. 392 and was later again renamed as the Army Reserve Command on October 1, 1999, HPA General Order No. 1300, and was given its marching orders to maintain, administer, develop, train, and organize reservist units to help enhance and sustain national security. Policies being declared under Republic Act 7077 include: first, maintaining a standing of a regular military force for the security of state, which can be expanded to well-disciplined citizen forces in the event of war, invasion, or rebellion. 2. The citizen armed forces will have the opportunity to participate in protecting the security of the nation, and will also have the opportunity to assist in socio-economic development. 3. The call to personal military and civil service, wherein they would be organized, trained, developed, and maintained to ensure their capability and immediately respond to the call to serve. 4. The nation shall promote and develop the public support and awareness and the important role of the citizen armed force as protector of the people and the state. Number 5. The manpower of the citizen armed force shall only be conforming to the projected and the actual needs. It is not envisioned by the state to have a nation under arms, unless extremely necessary. Article 2, Section 4 of Republic Act 7077. The mission of the Citizen Armed Force is to provide the base of expansion of the armed forces of the Philippines in the event of war, invasion, or rebellion, to assist in relief and rescue during disaster or calamities, to assist in socio-economic development, and to assist in the operation and maintenance of essential government or private utilities in the furtherance of overall mission. The reserve force shall be organized into 5 components, namely: first, the Army Reserve component. They would be the primary unit of citizen armed force. The battalion equivalent of the reserve will be organized on a provincial basis. Reserve units of the brigades and division equivalent would be organized on a regional basis. Their organizational structures and manning should be prescribed by the Secretary of National Defense. As much as possible shall conform to their existing civilian organization. 2. The Air Force Reserve component. 3. The Navy Reserve component. 4. The AFP-wide Technical Reserve component. And 5. The Affiliated Reservists. Affiliated reserve are private and government entities, corporation establishments, and organizations at the national, provincial, and municipal levels, which provide essential public services such as water, light, transportation, and communications, where are necessary to support the prosecution of national defense. Plans or to meet an emergency shall be organized as affiliated units of the reserve force. Citizen soldiers are being categorized by the following. First, Category Reserve, composed of able-bodied reservists whose age is between 18 years and 35 years inclusive. Second Category Reserve, those whose ages are between 36 and 51 years provided that they are physically fit. Third Category Reserve are those who age above 51 and physically fit. Reserve forces are being classified according to their operational readiness for immediate deployment and utilization, which are the following. First, Ready Reserve. They are mostly composed of citizen soldiers belonging to First Category Reserve and others. They are subjected to be called at any time to augment the regular armed force of the AFP not only in times of war or national emergency, but also to meet local emergencies arising from calamities, disasters, and threats to peace, orders, security, and stability in any locality, including the need to provide assistance in relief, rescue work, and other civil assistance activities. 2. Standby Reserve. These are mostly composed of citizen soldiers belonging to Second Category Reserve and Third Category Reserve, except as provided in this Act. The members of the Standby Reserve shall be organized and assigned to specified reserve units and shall be maintained through annual assembly tests to update their records and their present addresses together with the others. The Standby Reserve may be mobilized or ordered to active duty only in times of national emergency or war. The ranks of the members may be upgraded if they voluntarily participate in training or serve with the Ready Reserve units in their areas if their Standby Reserve units undergo retraining. They will, however, be encouraged to upgrade their military knowledge. Retired Reserve. shall be composed of citizen soldiers who have qualified for retirement through length of service, old age, or disability. For this purpose, 65 years shall be considered as the retirement age. However, if qualified and fit for duty, a member of retired reserve may be ordered to active duty in times of local or national emergencies. If he volunteers for active duty when the Secretary of National Defense determines that there are not enough qualified citizen soldiers with his special skill and qualifications in the Regular Reserve or the Standard Reserve in his particular area of residence. To aid the Republic Act 7077, Republic Act number 9163, known as National Service Training Program, Act or National Service Law of 2002, had defined the policies and procedures in administration, training of ROTC unit, the National Service Training Program or NSTP. The future of the Army Reserve Command will be aligned pursuant to the directives of the Philippine Army's Transformation Roadmap to 2028. It's a 15-year strategy to attain its vision to be a world-class army that is a source of national pride, meeting the demand of the 21st generation.